the number of premarital sexual partners somebody's had, it's like a direct correlation. The higher that number, the higher the chances of divorce. So to give you an example, a virgin on average has less than 5% chance of getting divorced. Somebody with more than 10 sexual partners on average, 50% chance of getting divorced. That's a big deal. And this is for both sexes. That's a big deal. So if you're somebody who really cares about marriage and you don't want to get divorced, especially as a man, because men get absolutely screwed in divorce, you want to ask those questions. And so I was very upfront with her. I was like, this is why I'm optimizing for marriage. This is why I care. And it's like, there's different reasons other than that why it matters. It's like if somebody was a serial monogamist, for example, that's different than if they were cheating on their ex-partner, which is different than if they were getting railed at bars all the time. Like you want to know about the person's psychology, and when you have that conversation, you can gain insight into like, who are you, how do you approach relationships, and if you care about marriage, you can gain valuable information there.
Annie, it looked like you had something to say.
Because I must be an anomaly.
You guys speak into your mic.
I must be an anomaly because my husband never asked that question.
Well, most guys in your generation don't. Like it's kind of like an our generation thing.
So here's the thing, though. Rahab was related to Jesus Christ. So was Tamar.
Huh?
They had some bad mojo before they were with their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
if you're going to truly be Christ-like, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I'm not trying to disrespect you.
I don't feel
That's not going to matter. Because that person, if you love them, what they've done before does not matter.
So
it doesn't matter. And
Hold on,
I'm married
hold on,
14 years now.
Is like, I just want to know if you're
It's just not fair. It's not fair. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
It's not fair.
I hear what you're
What do
saying.
you mean it's not fair?
Hold on.
Wait, let me say one thing.
It's just not fair.
Life's unfair. The world's unfair. Women curve short dudes because they're short.
Brian, you get a pass
Sorry,
because you're not these two dudes.
Wait, what do you mean?
No, so here's the thing.
Because
so
these
here's
guys
the thing.
are Christ followers.
You're saying
they're supposed to have grace for women in all areas.
Just because we're Christian doesn't mean we have to marry prostitutes.
They can have
No,
preference.
I'm not telling you guys to do that. But
Everyone can have preference.
you know what? Rahab was redeemed by a spy. I just preached on this at a church on Sunday. She was redeemed by a spy that cared enough for her when the walls came down at Jericho to take her out of that lifestyle.
But isn't that the
Hey, that's
exception to
good.
the rule? And when you look at your lifestyle, even you say maybe I'm the exception. Yes, girl, you are the exception. Look at the upbringing that you had, and look at everything that you.
I want him to expand his mind and not be so judgmental
All right,
to
so
someone
hold
he
on,
could
hold on.
possibly love.
My mind is
hold on.
fully expanded. I will not marry a prostitute.
I'm
So-
not saying that they're still doing it.
Annie,
It's,
may
you know,
I please respond to
you know.
everything that you just said? Okay. There is room for Christ-like love, and there is also room for wisdom and discernment in terms of who you are entering a marital contract into. Okay, you can forgive someone for their past. Someone can have a past. That doesn't mean that you're obligated to marry them. Okay, so if I'm having a conversation with a woman and she has a past, but she regrets her past and she's repentant of it. Let's say, you know, maybe she had like a bad pattern in her past. Maybe she, you know, was looking for love in all the wrong places, something like that. And she developed a habit of sleeping with men too easily or something. Like that is something that a person can learn from. And there's also absolutely room for Christ-like forgiveness for something like that. There's no question. You know, everybody can be made new again in Christ. Okay. Why I would care though still as a man is because I want to know what happened there, because if I'm going to get married to you, unless we're signing a prenup or something like that, like I need to know, who are you? How do you approach relationships? I can have forgiveness for your past, but how do you approach relationships? Because here in America, we've got no fault divorce. Is there something there that might lead you one day to just decide you want to divorce me and absolutely screw me and take my kids and half my income and everything like that? Is there something that could be lurking there? Because if there is, I want to know about it. You know, I'm not obligated to marry a woman with a past. If I'm entering into a contract with somebody, I want to know who I'm entering into that contract with. But you can
What if
still
it's all who's
love
left?
them and forgive them. What'd you say?
You don't have to be a prostitute to do that. Divorce someone and take all their money. Okay, there's plenty of
Exactly.
women that just do that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
come
there
on,
are.
man.
There are, which is,
Okay.
and most people nowadays are not prudent about who they marry. Most marriages end in divorce. A lot of people just get up in their feelings and they fall in love with somebody and they don't have the really hard conversations. They don't ask the really tough questions, both men and women. A lot of women don't vet men properly for their red flags. A lot of women end up with men who are abusive. Yeah, a man could have had an abusive past. A man could have been a murderer. It's a woman's job to see if that was the case, because if he was a murderer, she can forgive him and have Christ-like love for him. But is she still obligated to marry him? Would it be a good idea?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you just have to open your mind, because what if there is a person that you meet, and I'm going to pray that for you, by the way.
You're gonna pray for him
I'm going to pray for him to
marry
run
a
into
prostitute.
a woman that's so, he can't handle the attraction he has, and it's so strong that it's actually spiritual too.
Look.
And he's like compelled to marry her.
We're not
Just so
we're not
compelled.
against a Christian marrying a prostitute.
I'm just
you can
just
see
saying
that in Hosea.
that
Hosea gets a direct
that's
command
the
from God.
redemption. That's what Christ
marry
did for the
prostitutes?
church.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I
You know, it's
agree.
beautiful. And I cry for this because there is so many women out there, and I'm going to cry for them, that they just want someone to love them and give them a chance.
You're not owed a relationship. You're not
I know,
owed
but
a marriage.
still, but that's why Christ came. So we could all be redeemed.
I guess that's why maybe it could kind of
I
suck.
fight for
is
the
like-
girls, that's all. I fight
That's fair. That's fair, and I respect that. I
because
respect
I
that.
know their hearts.
You're-
They'll give their
Wait.
shirt off their back.
Into the mic, please.
Annie, I want to.
They'll give their shirt off their back, and they give their heart more than once. Trust me, and that's why.
They might be
And
great
it-
people,
wait.
but
Yes.
men,
Brian, can I say something really quick?
let me get in one
I'm
thing
emotional
really quick.
because you know what? I'm sad that
Annie,
this is
I want
how
to say,
men are
Annie,
thinking right now.
well, okay, so hold on. Annie,
It makes me
Annie,
sad.
Annie, please listen.
Am I wrong
Please,
for
please,
crying?
Annie, please listen. No, you're not wrong for crying. Annie, I love the heart that you have for these women, and I love the fact that you are a voice for these women. You listening? Yeah. I love the fact that you're a voice for these women, because I can't imagine, your guys' lives and everything that you've been through. Like, I think it's very valuable that you're speaking up on their behalf, okay? Now, just like you're a voice for those women, what I'm trying to do is be a voice for men. And we live in a world where a lot of bad women screw over a lot of good men.
And I understand that. I totally get the Jezebels. I get it.
Okay.
I respect that part. I don't want you guys to get hurt too, but we got to give each other a chance at some point.
There's no question. We've got to give each other Christ-like chances, but it's also important to be for both sexes to be discerning about who they're getting into relationships with, because there's a lot of broken families out there and a lot of broken marriages, and I want to try and prevent that.
Annie, can I ask you a question? Would you object to a woman not wanting to date a man who's shorter than her?
That's a totally different subject.
No, it's
Are
not.
you fucking kidding?
No, it is not, Annie. No, it is
Everybody
not.
knows
Well,
it's not.
but can you answer the question? Though? Would you object? Would you object to a woman not wanting to date a man who's shorter than her?
He's saying preference.
I've dated men shorter than me.
Would you object? Okay, let's say Atlas is like, I don't want to date men unless they're over 6 feet tall. Would you say that's wrong, or is she justified in that?
I mean, this has nothing to do with the
It
sexuality part.
it has everything to do with
I
it,
mean,
Annie. Is she
for me,
wrong
it
for
doesn't.
wanting that?
For me, it doesn't.
For you,
'Cause
it
if he has
doesn't.
muscles, it's on.
Okay. So basically,
It's a
what you're
personal
saying,
preference.
what you're saying is
Yes.
it's not okay for us to have preferences, but it's okay for women to have preferences. That's what you're telling me.
I want someone to buy the champagne.
This has all got to do with redemption and sexuality
Hey,
and
Atlas
mistakes
wants
being
somebody
made.
to buy the
If you were born short, that's not your fault.
Right, but choosing to be a
People can make mistakes in their life, but they can also choose to continually do wrong, and that is their fault. If somebody chooses to keep doing the wrong thing, that is their fault. If a woman decides, I want to go have sex with 50 men at bars over the next 10 years, obviously no woman's consciously thinking that, but if she makes the choice continually to do that, that's her choice. She made that choice.
Basically,
I'm not tricking anybody though. I'm not tricking anyone into marriage. I'm not tricking anyone into
That's
divorce.
not what
I'm
we're-
putting a price out. It's up front and guaranteed. I give you what you pay for.
And if they
and
want
more.
it, they want it. Is that what you're saying? If they want
Yeah,
it, you got
there's
it.
no
If
tricking.
not,
There's no.
that's
There's
fine.
no.
but
you know,
but this is the
She's
thing.
honest.
Yeah.
This is the
I'm
thing
honest.
But it's not a contract for a relationship.
Okay, this is the thing though,
Yes.
is that when men have preferences, standards, and boundaries, for example, not wanting to date a woman who's has a promiscuous past, not wanting to date a woman who was engaged in sex work in her past or currently. To me, it's shocking that it's somehow that you can
Hot
I
tub
just
style.
feel like
Yeah,
we shouldn't have
yeah.
to explain it.
Yeah,
I understand.
I get
nobody.
it in the
No,
sense
hold on,
of like,
no. Let me finish. Let me
Okay.
finish. People always have issues with male standards, male preferences, male boundaries, but nobody bats an eye when a woman says, "I want X, Y, Z in a partner." Women are allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries. Men aren't. If a woman says, "I want to date a guy who's tall," cool. If a guy says, "I don't want to date a woman who's overweight," whoa, you're fat shaming. That's body shaming. You're discriminating.
Right.
Men's preferences are discriminatory. Women's preferences are preferences. It happens to be the case that men care about a woman's past, her promiscuity. So
It's
It's
literally
just like-
it's
Well,
literally
men are
like
allowed
the
to sleep
equivalent.
with as many
hold on,
women as
hold
they
on,
want,
hold on,
and
hold on.
women aren't.
This is like this conversation is like the equivalent of saying, okay, so a man's like, yeah, I don't want a woman who is a prostitute. This is basically the same as if a woman was like, I don't want a guy who has gotten drunk and beaten up his girlfriends in the past. You could have grace for a man's past. But if you as a woman don't want to be with a guy who's beaten women in the past, that's your choice and you're justified in that.
I don't care if a man doesn't want a woman that was a prostitute. I don't care.
You
that
don't.
doesn't bother me.
Annie does.
It doesn't bother me. What
Okay.
it bothers me is that we pass judgment on women for sleeping with a lot of men, but women don't get to pass that judgment on men. That's
Women
the problem.
absolutely
wouldn't
get
make
to
that
problem.
pass that
That's the
judgment.
problem.
They
Yeah,
absolutely get to pass that judgment.
both
Yeah.
men and
Absolutely
women
can.
both men and women make judgment calls about potential partners.
And you know what? And that makes the world go round.
I'm sure you like
That makes the world go round. Okay, but men pass judgment on the girls at the Bunny Ranch
Sure.
every single day on race, color, size.
so you'll date anybody. There's no discernment at all when
I'm
it comes
on
to
this
who
show
you
to
date.
figure out how to date. Hello.
But
Same.
okay, so you just
Okay.
okay, all right, okay.
we don't know what we're doing.
Here we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon.
guys. I just don't understand why people can't just love.
I'm just
I
getting
think
bashed.
It's
I came
not-
out
you guys
here to
aren't
figure
saying
out how to
that,
date.
you guys
Why
do
can't-
think
why
everyone
can't
deserves
women-
love.
why-
it's just
you-
not
you
your
say-
preference.
Well,
You're saying
you can love a prostitute without marrying her. Okay.
Okay, that's the point. We don't want you to marry us. We want
Well,
you to take
she
you
Glad
did.
someone did because
But
Jesus
you
was
are
born.
up
also
front, take
saying
your
that
shoes, your dirty
a
clothes, and go
prostitute, if the
home,
guy is
okay?
okay with it,
Yeah.
she still deserves love and marriage. If somebody,
Hey, yeah. If a guy
so-
wants
if
to,
a guy's okay
more
with
power
it-
to him.
yeah, it's
If
just
a guy's
you
okay with it-
personally are not.
well, I think we're also saying here most men are also probably going to have an issue with it.
Not even
So
religious
what?
guys. I think it's like a
So
biological and
Yeah, you can-
psychological
I mean-
reaction. Like
Yeah.
take religion completely out of the picture and most guys would still have the exact same feeling because it's biological and it's psychological.